let the old you die. And I mean that so wholeheartedly, because a lot of us are stuck in our past. We're stuck reminiscing about someone or something, or we're stuck trying to outlive things from our past, when the truth is we must release our past so that we can redeem our future. The saying is, the foolish man seeks happiness in the future, but the wise grows under his feet. With the understanding that today is all that we really have. The reason why it's called the present is because it's a gift, right? The past was yesterday and the future is tomorrow, but all we have is right now. So it's important that we realize that we maximize and we prioritize our right now. It doesn't matter what you did in the past, and it doesn't matter where you're going in the future. All that matters is, what are you willing to do right now? What are the actions that you're willing to do? What are the actions that you're willing to take? What are the changes that you're willing to make in your right now? And there's a verse from Romans 12:2, and it says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." And it's helping us understand that where we were and where God is taking us are two different places, and that there are some places that only God can take us. But the only way that we can step into those places is if we're willing to make those changes. There's got to be a true metamorphosis that happens to the point that a lot of the people who seen you or knew you back then, they will not be able to recognize you in your now. But we have to be focused on our now, because truthfully, our biggest enemy is our enemy. And it's simply because our thoughts are what can plague us backwards, right? Our thoughts is the thing that we take one step forward, but our thoughts can make us take two steps backwards. And so if you don't take anything else from this, please let the old you die, because the old you has nothing new for you. The old you is stuck in your past, but the new you has so much more potential, and it has the direction of where God is trying to lead you to. And when I think about the old us, it's truthfully based off of what we knew then and how we reacted to it versus where we are now. And hindsight is always 2020. So we can always look back and say, oh, I should have did this or I should have did that. Letting the old you die isn't just the depth of your old self, but it's also the birthing place of your new self. It's not just saying farewell and goodbye to all the things that you used to do and the person that you used to be, but it's also the introduction to who you're becoming and who you want to be. See, the future holds so much potential for you, but you have to be willing to deny the past, deny everything that used to come from everything that brought you here, because the things that brought you here won't bring you there. And it's not to say that we should just ignore everything that got us to this point, but it's more so to say that it's appreciated, but there must be another level, right? There must be another step that's required for us to move further, to us to go to higher heights. And we have to be willing to take that step. We have to be willing to say, you know what? The old me got me here, but the old me won't get me to the new version that I want to reach. And the truth of it is, God has something so special for us, so intentional with our own purpose. Nothing else that anybody else can touch. And it's important that we realize that we can't fall behind in our own race. We're just the ones who set the pace. We can't fall behind in something that was destined for us. We can't fall behind in our own purpose. That is all other expectations that the world tries to conform us to, that the world tries to mold us in or categorize us in, and applies this extra pressure to us for us to feel like we're falling behind. But how can you fall behind when it's just you versus you. There's nothing else. There's no other influence that's required. There's no other knowledge that you need. Everything that you need is already within. So releasing that pressure, releasing those expectations, releasing that timeline, releasing the conformities of this world, and allowing yourselves to be renewed. Let your mind be renewed and start operating in the way that God has intended you to be. Because a lot of times we fake it till we make it. But the truth is, how can you fake something that is original? You're an original design. There is no imitation. We all have individuality. None of us have the same fingerprints. My fingerprints are different from your fingerprints, and your fingerprints are different from mine. So it makes no sense for me to try to copy you. It makes no sense for you to try to copy me. Because I'm gonna be truthful, I could be an average you, but I could be a phenomenal me. I can only be an average you, but I can be a phenomenal me. And you can only be an average me, but you can be a phenomenal you. And it's when we realize that the world that we live in wants to reduce this individuality and create uniformity, making everyone be like everyone else. No outliers. But we were designed to be outliers with a unique purpose, with unique gifts. And when I say let the old you die, I don't just mean the old you, but I also mean your old thoughts. I also mean your old habits. I also mean your old expectations, right? Your own judgment, the old judgment of yourself. Release it. Let it go. Let it die. It's no longer serving you, because that old you is now in an old place, but you're stepping into a new one. God is doing a new thing in a new place where you are. It's time for us to let that old stuff go. It's time to let those old relationships, let that old baggage, let all that stuff go. Those people who cut you, it's fine. Heal from it. Please don't bleed on other people who never cut you. It's time to release all of that old trauma. Yes, that thing did happen back then, but that's back then. That's 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Shoot, it could be 2 years ago. You've had enough time to be able to say that happened, address it with yourself, and then heal from it, right? And even if you aren't healed from it, you know that hurt people hurt people. So it's important that we remember that the you today isn't still hurt. It's just you're still healing. You no longer have that pain. You're just healing from that process. Regardless of what it is. And it's so important that we realize that in every aspect that we walk into in life, that our old selves dictates how we perceive new situations, how we operate in new environments, how our old selves think is how our new selves operate. And so the only way for us to get out of the old way of doing things is to create new habits, is to create new judgment, is to realize that there is no expectations. There is just what we're willing to do. There is no set, this is what's required. It's only what we're able to do. It's only what we're willing to do. He who is willing will do it. He who is willing will do it, and he who is not willing won't. Same thing of understanding that he who believes and he who doesn't are both right. If I believe that anything is possible, I'm right. Anything is possible. And I'll achieve more things than a person who believes that everything isn't. And vice versa. But you know what creates that outlook on life? old judgments, old perspectives, old environments. And the only way that changes is to release all the old. Let the old you die and step into the new you. Because I promise you that the old you cannot serve you in the new places God is trying to take you.